Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to episode 323 of the podcast, unless you're joining live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you want to catch the show live, make sure you subscribe on one or all of those channels. Turn on your notifications so you know when the show is going live, like right now. Today is Monday, July 31st. And just like that, summer's pretty much over. Back to school in like a week and a half here in Florida. Just kind of flew by, didn't it? I remember the summers going by a lot faster when I was a kid, though. It would be like last day of school, and then your mom would take you to the department store or whatever, and the back to school signs would be up like a week after school got out. And you'd be like, shit, gotta go clothes shopping and go back to school soon. And then you realize that that's the last time in your life where you're going to have 8 weeks off at a time from anything. In any case, a lot of great combat sports stuff this weekend. Before we get into that, still got the wife's family in town. Half of them are going to be leaving on Wednesday, and then the rest will be taken off on Monday. It's been great having everybody around, and my daughter's loved having her cousins from around the world here to play with. All the kids have been getting along great. We've been doing a lot of barbecuing, a lot of time at the beach, and it's been awesome catching up with everybody. It can be stressful, with so many people and coordinating and things like that, but overall it's been a lot of fun. And then I took my daughter today actually to see Elemental, the Disney movie, or actually Pixar movie, Disney, Pixar, whatever. And it was pretty good. I had heard that it bombed, but it was like a real muggy day today, and there was nothing we could do outside, and my daughter's camp was canceled, so I had to come up with something to do. So I said, let me see what's playing in the movies, and she really wants to see the Barbie movie because my daughter is pretty obsessed with Barbies. She had a Barbie birthday party. We had Barbie come to her party and stuff. So she sees the movie posters and she's like, I want to see the Barbie movie. But it's rated PG-13. I just need to know like what it's rated that for, if it's a couple of like innuendo jokes that are just going to go over her head, then I'm fine with that. But, if there's any explicit scenes in it, I don't mind the swearing either, because she's pretty good about that stuff where, I tell her these are grown-up words and these are not words that kids say. And she's pretty good about policing herself with that. She doesn't even like imitate the bad words for laughs or anything. But I don't know. If you guys have seen the Barbie movie and you think it's okay for a 5-year-old to see, send me a message or leave a comment. Let me know, because if it is appropriate enough, I've probably let her see some PG-13 movies at this point, but they're all movies that I've seen before, so I knew exactly what was in them and why they were rated that way. In any case, we saw Elemental. It was a cute movie, and I had heard, or I had read, that it had bombed. It had done really poorly in the box office, I guess, because, there's a lot of controversy with Disney and Pixar and politics and all that horse shit. People are boycotting or whatever, but as far as I'm concerned, if there's a kids movie playing and there's nothing to do outside and we got to go to a movie, go catch a matinee or something, then we'll go see a Disney movie. I thought it was pretty good. The story was basically all the characters are different elements, fire, water, smoke, trees, which aren't even elements, but some of the characters were trees. And they touch on some things like discrimination, where like the fire characters are not allowed to go to like museums or whatever that are for the water people because they're worried that it's going to catch fire. So like some subtle undertones of discrimination there, which I think is, I think they did it in a tasteful way. And the fire character is gonna take over her father's business, but she's got a short temper, and it turns out she has a short temper because that's not really what she wants out of life. It was a cute movie. And then she ends up falling for one of the water characters, so you have fire and water falling in love there. My only complaint is that, just like with The Little Mermaid, too fucking long, man. Come on, Disney. It was like an hour and 50 minutes. Like, and now if you go, I don't know if you guys have gone to movies lately, but they do like 25 minutes of previews. And then this movie showed like a 6 or 7 minute short film with the old guy from Up and his dog. And it's like, come on, I don't want to be, these chairs are comfortable and everything, but I don't want to be in the movie theater for like 2.5, 3 hours. This is too much. Let's make it 90 minutes, Disney. You put whatever you want in there, whatever agenda you have. I don't give a shit. Just wrap it up in an hour and a half, all right? I know I sound like such an old man right now, but my daughter was losing interest too. And then I made a mistake of getting tickets for the 3D show. So you have to wear the 3D glasses, which I'm not a fan of. And she was tired of wearing the glasses. She took them off like 15 minutes into the movie. So she's watching like a blurry movie. But she was still into it. She had a good time. That's all that matters. My daughter gets excited to go to the movies because she thinks every time she's going to get a huge bucket of popcorn and like Sour Patch Kids. So I had to start being a little more strict about that stuff, because we can't be, filling her up with all this junk food every time we go to a movie. All right, let's talk fights, shall we? And I know a lot of other podcasts may lead with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, but and I get it. Like, if you're a fan of boxing, you're like, wow, they finally put two top guys who are facing each other in their prime. Like, this never happens in boxing. And I think we're just spoiled in MMA, because look what we had this weekend. Two guys in their prime who are both killers, Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. Neither one of them are champions. Well, I guess Gaethje is kind of a champion now with the BMF belt, which that whole thing was so awkward because Masvidal had to get in a cage and put a belt on a guy who just knocked out his teammate cold. So he just kind of like draped it over his shoulder. Man, what a great fight. It was a good first round. I think they were kind of feeling each other out a little bit. Here's what I noticed. Poirier was throwing the body kick, and he's throwing from southpaw, and Gaethje's orthodox. So that body kick is there. And Gaethje was leaning down into it. So I think Poirier was going to adjust and look for the head kick. But then I noticed he kept tugging on his shorts. So something was wrong with the fit of those shorts, and they looked to be a little tight right on his hips. So I think he was trying to set up that head kick, but he couldn't do it because his shorts were too tight on his hips. You saw he kept tugging them up his legs, trying to give himself a little bit more freedom, looking for that head kick. And ironically, Gaethje's the one who lands it. Same setup that was used by Leon Edwards to knock out Gaethje's teammate Kamaru Usman. So it was a great finish because it was so unexpected. Like Gaethje, obviously, he's known for hard kicks, but mostly the leg kicks. We don't really see him throwing head kicks, and it was a beautiful head kick. Shin to chin, landed exactly where it was supposed to. He caught Poirier kind of doing this high elbow guard thing that he does. And his hand wasn't protecting his face and just caught him flush, put him out. And then Herb Dean had to come like he was sliding into home plate to try and stop Justin Gaethje from pouncing on him. What a performance by Justin Gaethje, man. Here's a guy who has been known to be a slugger and a brawler all the way up until recently. He fought in the UFC that way, to the point that the only way to beat this guy was to shut his brain off, which is something Dustin Poirier did, something Eddie Alvarez did. And in both of those fights, Gaethje is knocked out and he's like a chicken with his head cut off, just swinging as he's still falling to the ground. I mean, the guy is the pure definition of a fighter. I don't know how you could not. I don't know how you could be a fan of this sport and not be a fan of Justin Gaethje and love seeing that guy fight every time. And then on the other side, Dustin Poirier, what a class act, man. He gave Gaethje so much credit, and he carried himself with so much poise and class in the post-fight press conference. It's hard not to admire that guy, and he's such a technician. And I would be curious to hear his comments on my shorts theory, because I really think he was looking for the high kick, but there was some kind of outfit malfunction there. If you go back and look, you could see the shorts wrinkled up a tiny bit, like right on his hip, which could have impinged his ability to throw that high kick. Because every time he threw that body kick, Gaethje was kind of leaning into it. The high kick would have been there. And I know Dustin would have picked up on that. And I also think that he got so distracted with the shorts, constantly trying to pull him up, that, for a split second, he just wasn't there. And that's all it takes when you're in there with a killer like Justin Gaethje. So great fight. Gaethje gets the BMF belt, which, I think it was silly. We didn't need that for this fight. That it would have kind of been more special if it was a one-time thing. It was Masvidal and Nate Diaz, and it was that moment in history, and it worked at that time. Now it's just kind of silly. It's like, how do you explain this to somebody who loosely follows the sport? It's like, well, we have champions in each weight class, but this weight class kind of has another champion and they have a belt, but it doesn't mean they're like the best in the division, but it means they're like the baddest motherfucker on a certain night because the UFC didn't have a title fight for that pay-per-view. It's like, well, if this guy is the baddest motherfucker, then why isn't he the champion of the division? Why doesn't he have that belt? How do you explain that to somebody? And you can't. It's like it kind of cheapens the belt. Even if, say, Gaethje gets more recognition for being the baddest motherfucker than Islam Makhachev gets for being the actual champion, then what's the point of having an actual divisional champion? In any case, that's more time than I wanted to spend talking about that belt. Awesome main event. Just incredible. I'm usually not an advocate for like constantly, looking to run fights back, but I think we need to see a third one between these guys. And, hopefully we get to see it. Obviously, Poirier is going to need some time off. Gaethje may be challenging the winner of Oliveira and Makhachev. So we'll have to see how all that plays out. But wouldn't it be awesome to see this fight for a third time for a championship, for the actual divisional championship? I think that would be incredible. I mean, it would be so easy to build up. You have the two highlight reel knockouts of each other, two great fights leading up to the rubber match, and you do it for a title down the line. Um, I think that would be awesome. And I'm not the biggest fan of rematches and things like that, but I would definitely want to see the third match here. I mean, it's one apiece. They've finished each other, and yeah, I'd like to see how a third one would look. So congratulations to Justin Gaethje. I mean, you were a bad motherfucker before he won that belt, and now you have something to put up on your mantle that says it. So there's that. All right, co-main event. I'm curious how you guys scored this one. Alex Pereira and Jan Blachowicz. Blachowicz controlled most of the fight, I thought. I understand he didn't do a whole lot with the takedowns, but he was able to control Pereira, and Pereira wasn't doing a whole lot back. It's not like he was rocking him with big shots, and Blachowicz did look tired in there. I get that. In the third round, he was really huffing and puffing. But at the same time, I didn't feel like Pereira was doing much back. I don't know. I was watching this at my buddy's house, and we were talking and other things were going on, so I wasn't really scoring it. But at the end, I was surprised to see Pereira come away with the decision. Granted, it was a split decision. It was a close fight. Neither guy really did a lot that would, like, there were no like huge moments in this fight. And I think the loss is more detrimental to Blachowicz because he just came off of that draw with Ankalaev that cost him, the shot at the championship when Dana White was like, when the fight went to a draw, Dana was just like, I'm not giving a title to either of these guys. And then he made, the Jamal Hill fight, and the rest is history. Jamal would go on to win the title, win that vacant title, and then have to vacate it a few months later. The positive thing about Pereira winning the decision is it brings us closer potentially to my dream fight, which is Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka. I need to see this fight. This fight needs to happen at some point. Hopefully they can put it together. Maybe it'll be for the title. I don't know. And a lot of people still want to say, like, Pereira doesn't deserve it. He moved up after losing the belt. It's like, yeah, but he became the middleweight champion after 4 fights, and knocked out Adesanya, who, a lot of people would have said at that time was the greatest middleweight of all time. A lot of people still say Anderson Silva, and there's definitely that argument, but other people would say Adesanya, and Pereira came in, beat him for a third time. First time in MMA, but still for the third time overall. I'm sipping on my summer whiskey hack over here, guys. I don't know if you saw the short video or the Instagram reel I put up today, but something I like to do in the summer, instead of using ice cubes in my whiskey, I use frozen cherries, because I don't like drinking whiskey on the rocks. I know if you've listened to the show for a long time, you've heard me say this 1,000 times. I don't drink whiskey on the rocks, but MMA Neat would have been a stupid name for a show. However, in the summer, it's hot. It can be a little uncomfortable sipping bourbon, and you want to chill it a little bit. I don't really like the whiskey stones because I worry about them cracking my teeth. I have like an unreasonable fear of a stone just knocking one of my teeth out. For those who don't know, whiskey stones they're just like little rocks, and you put them in your freezer, and you can chill your whiskey without watering it down. So instead of those things, I put frozen cherries, and it really brings out the cherry flavor in bourbon. It would work well in ryes as well, because ryes are used in Manhattans and things like that, and possibly some sherry cask scotches and some American whiskeys as well. I've been doing it with this Redwood Empire Pipe Dream. I picked this up last week, and it's a really nice bottle. I caught it on sale for like $30, but I think it normally runs like 38 to 40, somewhere in there. But it definitely has that cherry flavor profile that I was talking about. It's got a bit of vanilla on the aftertaste. Not too powerful with the oak, but it's a really nice summer bourbon. I've really been enjoying it. Obviously, I told you guys I bought it last week, and I haven't been sharing it. This isn't all damage done by me, but it is really delicious. I definitely recommend it for that price point. It's a really good quality bourbon. Mark Fellows says, good to be here. You ought to do a Howler Head review. Well, Mark, I heard your request loud and clear. I purchased a bottle of Howler Head, and I have already filmed the review. That's going to be getting posted on YouTube this coming Friday. So don't worry, that one's in the pipeline. I had been curious about Howler Head for a while, since Dana White was pushing it, and they became a sponsor of the UFC. So I guess it was only a matter of time before I did try it. And thank you, Mark, for actually pushing me over the edge and giving me a reason to go and do it and do a 1-minute whiskey review, which, if you guys follow on YouTube or Instagram, this is something I've been doing recently. I have a bunch of them pre-recorded, and I'm going to be putting them out maybe, once or twice a week. But Howler Head will be the review this week, so keep an eye out for that one. It's going to be posted as a short on YouTube, and I'll throw it up on Instagram as well, and then I don't know, wherever else, Twitter, wherever you guys find me. I try to keep up with this stuff so much. Like, I'll post one thing here, and then I'm like, did I put it here? And what's the best way to share it on Twitter? And Twitter isn't even Twitter anymore. Now it's called X. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I can't keep up. I feel like this is going to trigger a lot of people, because now you can't say like, oh, my tweet went viral. You have to say like, my ex went viral. And, a lot of people are very sensitive talking about their exes. So I don't know if it was the best brand decision for Elon Musk, but he has a few more $1 billion in the bank than I do. So I guess, what do I know? In any case, Redwood Empire, great bourbon, great summer bourbon. Definitely has my recommendation. I had been seeing it and hearing about it for a while, and I just never pulled the trigger. And then finally, it was like $8 off, and I was like, let's go for it. It was just calling my name on the shelf. It's got some cool artwork on the bottle. I'm curious to try some of their other stuff now. All right, where were we? Oh, Derrick Lewis. Man, 33-second knockout over Marcos Rogerio de Lima. And this fight was supposed to be on the prelims for some crazy reason. I mean, I know Derrick Lewis had lost a bunch of fights, but come on, man. It's Derrick Lewis. The man is a national treasure. Comes out with a flying knee, of all things, against a guy who he said he didn't even know who he was. He's like, yeah, I saw a few of his videos like last week, and then I looked up his picture. I just saw what he looks like. And then he comes out, flying knee, TKO, tears his shorts off, and then goes and drapes his hot balls over the top of the UFC octagon. And doesn't even have to say much in the post-fight interview because Joe Rogan was like, "Did you know you had to take your pants off?" And he's like, "Yeah, because, well, you know." His "my balls was hot" line that he gave in the post-fight interview, whenever that was, is so iconic. He didn't even need to repeat the line to get a pop from the crowd. The guy is special when it comes to being on the microphone and giving interviews, and the whole fight week he was just telling the media how much he hates them and fuck all you guys, and I shouldn't even be here. I should walk out of the room. And then he continues to give them like awesome one-liners to use as clickbait on their websites. The guy is just awesome. And then not only does he have a 33-second knockout, he reveals this was his last fight on his UFC contract, and he's like, "Oh, we're going to go into negotiations now." I mean, they must have been paying him a ton of money. I don't know what his contract is, but it was probably pretty hefty. He's the all-time knockout leader. And then they were going to put him on the prelims, which they usually don't do with the high-paying guys, even if they have a lot of losses. They try to keep them on the main card. But then we lost Wonder Boy and Pereira. So they wisely bumped this fight up to the main card, and he winds up winning a bonus. Pretty cool that the UFC will still give him a bonus, even though, they're about to go into negotiations with him. So pretty stand-up move by the company. But, like, how do you not give him a bonus for that? Like, I would give him a bonus just for the post-fight when he takes his pants off and jumps on top of the cage. Just gold. Everything the guy does is pure gold. So hopefully they work out a good contract with Derrick Lewis. I mean, yeah, he lost a bunch of fights, but come on, it's heavyweight. And he's the kind of guy who's out there throwing hard, which means guys are throwing hard back at him. Anything can happen. And he had all the back problems and everything, but a performance like that over a guy against Marcos Lima, like, come on. Sign that man back, and whatever it costs, get him back in there. Let's talk about Wonder Boy real quick. So Michel Pereira misses weight again, and Wonder Boy decides, you know what? It's pretty far along in my career. I don't want to risk getting in there with a guy who has a hydration advantage. I'm not going to fight. All right. Pretty unusual thing to hear, but luckily Wonder Boy is in a position where he doesn't need to fight necessarily. I think he's pretty well off financially. I get the feeling he's pretty smart with his money. He runs a gym. He doesn't seem like he would go out blowing all the money on cocaine and hookers, but you can't judge a book by its cover either. So a lot of people were criticizing Wonder Boy, and then the other half of everybody was criticizing the UFC for not paying Wonder Boy his show money. But I mean, you have to show on fight night to get your show money. Like, he withdrew from the fight knowing that he wasn't going to get paid. So I don't understand why it's even controversial that the UFC doesn't pay him, because the contract is to fight. The contract's not to weigh in. It would be different if, like, Pereira got caught with banned substances or something, and then Wonder Boy couldn't fight. And who knows? The UFC could have compensated him anyway. Like, look, we know it's fucked up. We talk to this guy all the time about his weight. He keeps missing weight. Here's a little spending cash for you, Wonder Boy. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for, interacting with the fans and whatever else. They could have given him something a little under the table. Okay. Bobby Green and Tony Ferguson. This was an interesting fight. Two very unorthodox guys. It was kind of similar to Tony Ferguson and Michael Chandler. Like he was doing okay until he wasn't. Took that bad eye poke, I think it was in the second round, and then had a hard time recovering from it. I think was a little too gung-ho about getting back in there because he didn't want the doctor to stop the fight. And then he, kind of struggled from that point on, but Bobby Green also, started pouring on the pressure and then wound up on top of Tony Ferguson at the end of the fight, sinks in an arm triangle choke and puts Tony Ferguson to sleep with 6 seconds left in the fight. Man, what a bummer. If this is it for Tony Ferguson, what a way to go out. I mean, 39 years old. His last win was June of 2019. So 4 years ago. And that was against Cowboy Cerrone when Cowboy broke his nose and then in between rounds tried to blow his nose, which made his eye swell up, I think was what happened. So since then, it was 6 losses in a row for Tony Ferguson. And here was a guy who had, a 12-fight win streak at one point in this division. Everybody was talking about him as the guy to beat Khabib. I hate that this has to be part of his legacy. This losing streak and, continuing to fight. When he's doesn't seem to be at this level or doesn't seem to be fully committed anymore. Part of me would like to see him just hang it up, and part of me would like to see him get one more and at least go out on a win. From what he says, he has 6 fights left in him. So, that's fine. I think as long as the level of competition changes. And as far as the Wonder Boy, I'll just touch on this again real quick. Rick Allen says lots of costs go into training and making weight like a professional. That's true. That's true, which is why when your opponent misses weight, you can negotiate to get some of their purse and then choose to fight. And if you choose not to fight, then you also choose to not get paid. I mean, you can't just say, I'm not going to fight this guy. Please pay me now. That's just not how things work. It's like if you take a sick day at work and you're out of sick days, you're not going to get paid for that day. You gotta go to work if you want to get paid. It sucks that Pereira missed weight and he's definitely unprofessional, but Wonder Boy did have a choice, and fortunately for him, he's in a place financially where he could make that choice for himself. And I don't criticize him for doing it. He knows what's best for him in his career. So there's that. Kevin Holland made quick work of Michael Chiesa with a Darce choke. I saw this one being a lot closer, to be honest. And I thought Kevin Holland maybe would have had an advantage on the feet, and Chiesa's the better wrestler. So I thought Chiesa could have kept it on the feet as long as he wanted to, or possibly wind up on top where, he would have been big and heavy for Kevin Holland to deal with. But what can I say? Got that one wrong. Kevin Holland, man, the dude, he's full of surprises, He gets in there with Wonder Boy and and strikes the whole time, even gets him down and lets him back up and is losing the fight, but still wants to keep his word. And then goes in there with a grappler like Chiesa and submits him. So awesome performance from Kevin Holland. And I think he got one of the bonuses as well. Yeah, Derrick Lewis, Kevin Holland, Bobby Green, and of course Justin Gaethje getting the bonuses on Saturday night. Let's see. I'll just talk about a few more things here. Gabriel Bonfim, man, this guy is a problem at welterweight. Quick guillotine submission over Trevin Giles. Just nasty, tight. 1 minute, 13 seconds, over and out. These Bonfim brothers, yeah, they're a problem. But Gabriel, I think, he's just a wrecking machine at welterweight. I look forward to seeing both of them fight again. And then Roman Kopylov with the nasty head kick over Claudio Ribeiro. Kopylov, if I remember correctly, almost finished the fight at the end of the first round and then comes out and just head kicks the guy right off the bat in the second round. Fight over. Kopylov, here's another guy that's a problem at middleweight, though. This dude, if he can stay healthy and fight regularly, he's going to be really good. Jake Matthews submits Darius Flowers. Kind of a weird thing happened in this fight where Jake Matthews threw a front kick at Darius and it hit him like in the stomach, and his heel may or may not have made contact below the belt. And the commentary booth was making a really big deal about this. They're like, this is a clean shot. What's going on? It's so clean. And Rogan tried to ask Jake Matthews about it. And Jake Matthews was like, well, the ref said it was illegal. I give Flowers the benefit of the doubt. Like, it could have done anything. The foot landed like on his belt line. It could have pulled his cup up. The heel could have touched. He's like, I should have brought the kick up higher, which I thought was really classy on the part of Jake Matthews. I thought he handled that really well. The crowd was booing when they saw the replay. Nobody really knows except Darius Flowers, what the impact was there. Maybe he went down because, the kick was right in the breadbasket. It knocked the wind out of him. Or maybe, something did affect him below the belt. He's the only one that knows for sure. Jake Matthews doesn't know. The referee thought it was close enough to pause the fight, which was good enough for me. And Jake Matthews didn't have a problem with it, so still went out there and finished him. So here we are. Uros Medic, man, I think on any other night, this guy wins a bonus. So he's going back and forth with Matthew Semlisberger, hits him with a nasty 1-2 and stuns him a little bit. Semlisberger reaches out with a right hook and wasn't protecting his face. Medic steps in with a spinning back fist, connects with his forearm right across Semlisberger's chin, and it was all over. I mean, he followed him to the ground and landed some more punches, but they were not really necessary. Awesome highlight by Uros Medic. If you missed the prelims, definitely go back and check that fight out. Miranda Maverick submits Priscilla Cachoeira with an armbar in the third round. So Maverick redeeming herself for that loss she suffered a couple weeks ago. Awesome card. Awesome night of fights. Yeah, top to bottom, this was a fantastic card. So that was that. And now here we are. Next weekend, already August, Nashville. And just like that, it's Billy Quarantello fight week, folks. Billy Q is going in there against Damon Jackson. And I love this matchup. Obviously, I'm a fan of Billy. We've trained together. He's been on the podcast. We're buddies. We have the same barber. So you guys know where my loyalty lies here, but Damon Jackson is a dog. I feel like he fights very similarly to Billy. So the way both of these guys fight is they kind of take the best that you have and then wait for you to get frustrated that your best wasn't enough. And then they try and turn it up on you. They're both good everywhere, both very well rounded. I think I would give Billy an advantage in the striking. I think his striking is just a little bit cleaner. Damon Jackson probably has a little bit better wrestling. Jiu-jitsu, I think they're pretty similar. Billy's got a little more length on the ground. But obviously I'm going with my buddy Billy Q here. No doubt about it. UFC doing him dirty, throwing him down on the prelims here. I don't like that. I mean, he got in there with Edson Barbosa in a co-main event. His last fight didn't go his way, but he looked good. At least let him get on the main card of this fight night. That would be the right thing to do. In any case, gives me a reason to tune into the prelims, which I definitely will be. And I'll be rooting for my boy Billy Q. So cheers to Billy. Let's have a little extra pour for that. Cheers, Billy Q. All right. Now let's talk about the rest of this shit card. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, guys. Calm down. Calm down. All right. So catchweight fight between Corey Sandhagen and Rob Font. This was supposed to be Rob, right? And I guess something Mark says do a howler head shoey. Oh. Listen, if there's ever gonna be a shoey on this show, it would have to be under extraordinary circumstances. Okay, like something miraculous would have to happen. I don't know. I don't know what would make me do a shoey. All right, if Billy Q wins the featherweight championship, I'll do a shoey. That's worth doing a shoey for. All right, so here I'm declaring it now. I'm gonna regret this. Billy Q. Oh, okay. Billy Q wins the championship. I just confused Matt and Mark. My fault. So Matt wants me to do the Howler head shoey. And Mark says he usually gets called Matt. So in any case, guys, listen, I'm old. It's hard to read while I'm talking. Give me a break here. I can't read and talk at the same time. All right. So Merab is out. So they place Merab with Rob Font. It's got to be a catch weight because it was last minute. Man, it's a tough night out getting in there against Corey Sandhagen right now. I mean, this dude has looked like a machine lately. Rob Font coming off a win against Adrian Yanez. He looked fantastic. Didn't take a lot of damage. That was in April. But, man, Sandhagen's a tall order right now. I mean, it's a smart move by Rob Font because if he gets the better of Sandhagen, that's going to be huge. Oh yeah, I'm just looking back at Sandhagen's record now. He had that split decision win over Marlon Vera that was just ridiculous because he dominated that fight and somehow it was a split decision. God, I hope that judge got fired. In any case, this should be a fun fight. 140 pounds. Credit to Corey Sandhagen, man, because here's a guy he could probably he probably could make a case for a title shot after dominating Marlon Vera. But he asked for the fight with Merab, who is the number one contender. Number one contender pulls out. Corey Sandhagen could have sat out and said, like, no, I'm good. Let me just wait for somebody higher ranked. Takes a fight against Rob Font. Matt says, wait, you were about to tell us what it would take to get a shoey out of you. I just told you, if Billy Q wins the championship, featherweight championship, I'll do a shoey on the show. All right? You satisfied? Billy, I love you, man, but if you win that championship, I'm going to have to drink out of his shoe. Anyway, co-main event, Jessica Andrade, Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana Suarez is just an absolute monster, but has been fighting very inconsistently. So she fought in 2019 and beat Nina Nunez, and then didn't fight again until February 2023. Comes back, struggled a little bit against Montana De La Rosa, but then it wound up submitting her in the second round. So here's going to be the big test for Tatiana Suarez, which, she was probably ready for back when she was hitting her stride in 2019. But then, and even then, she was only fighting like once or twice a year. So maybe it's a good thing, letting her body heal and everything like that. But she's a fighter who, by this point, should have already fought for a title. She has that much potential, in my opinion. And Jessica Andrade, some people may say on a decline. 2 fights in a row, she lost in pretty quick fashion. Got submitted by Erin Blanchfield in the second round back in February, and then she got knocked out by Xiaonan Yan in May. She moved back down to strawweight after the Erin Blanchfield fight. This is going to be a tough one for her, but, she does have that X factor of the knockout power, which a lot of strawweights don't have. So Tatiana is going to have to avoid that for the whole 3 rounds. Dustin Jacoby and Kennedy Nzechukwu. This will be a fun fight. These guys can both throw. Kennedy Nzechukwu, just such a good dude, man. 3-fight win streak. The last 3 fights were all finishes over all big names. Carl Robertson, Ion Cutelaba, Devin Clark finished all 3 of them. So this guy, 31 years old, really finding his stride here in the UFC now. And Dustin Jacoby, tough dude as well. Coming off of 2 losses, but, this guy has got some pop on his punches. He's well-rounded. It's a good fight. Good fight. All right, let's jump around a little bit here because I'm getting tired. Obviously, we talked about Billy Q, Damon Jackson already. Hani Barcelos and Kyler Phillips, that's a fun fight. Looking forward to that one. And, the rest of this card is solid. It's definitely watchable. I'm 100% tuning in for the prelims for Billy Q alone. Let's see. Matt Temple says that my reason for doing a shoey is weak. I think that's fair. I think that's a good one. My buddy wins the UFC championship. I got to drink beer out of his shoe. I don't know what else you want from me. Yeah, so let's see. We got the Howler Head review is coming out Friday, so keep an eye out for that. I posted another whiskey video just this morning. and I just got rid of all my shit here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to put up the the merchandise link. All right. In any case, obviously I'm too tired to be here anymore. If you guys want to grab some MMA on the Rocks merchandise, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, you can do so through our friends at Team Reaper. Reaper1.co is the website. You can use the promo code MMA Rocks 10. Save yourself 10% on your entire order, whether you are buying my merchandise or not. Let's see. I got to get through just one more week of entertaining family, and then it's back to school. Then I got to survive, trying to get my daughter back on a routine and back to school. We're starting kindergarten this year. It's a big deal. We're all looking forward to it. It's been a long training camp this summer, but I think we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it to the big show. In any case, that's all I got. Check out the Redwood Empire, guys. Awesome whiskey. They're not sponsors or anything. I just think it's good whiskey, and I like telling you guys when I find good whiskey. And that's all I got. So until next time, cheers, everybody. Bye.